we are going to be looking at stretching out our thighs this morning. Good morning, Noya, and engaging the quads. And it's weird that Nikki was talking about that. This means we don't sort of turn off the front tummy or any of those muscles. Even if you're having a stretch, you want to engage your muscles to have a safe stretch. So one of the stretches we're going to do today will involve having your knee down on the mat. So if you know you've got more delicate knees, which is a really common thing, then you could get yourself a little blankie or a pad or something, and we can use that to put our knee on. I'm not going to be beating you, don't worry. All right, so I think it's about 8:30, so take a comfy seat, everybody. Okay, and as usual, lean forward a little bit and try and inner rotate this thigh. So you inner rotate the soft flesh of the inner thigh and lift and widen your outer hip. And the reason I've got this is because this is going to represent my femur bone. Femur bone is the bone that slots into your hip, a bit of a long one, this one, and comes down to the knee. So this lovely long bone. And we do use something called the seesaw principle, because if we lift at one end, then the other end is going to go down. So just for a moment, lift your knees up, and this will help the femur bone go deeper into the socket. And with your knees lifted up, then lift and widen your upholstery. That will help get the femur bone deeper into the socket, and then start to think about lowering that bone down. All right, I'm going to be using my femur bone a couple of times today. All right, so we really want these in the socket, and we want to stretch into engaged muscle. All right, so take a couple of circles of your shoulders, settle in behind your eyes. We'll just take a few steadying breaths this morning. As we, this style of yoga requires just a little bit more thought about our anatomy and how we're moving, so that it's more mindful movement, and the movement becomes healing and rejuvenating, hopefully, as well, making you feel good as you step into your day. So notice your breath in and out. And I'll just leave you in that little moment, that little pause in your day for about 2 or 3 breaths within yourself. And then ever so gently bring your hands to your heart center as you welcome yourself to your mat this morning with one beautiful Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. Take another full breath. And then release your hands mid-thigh. As you press down onto the top of your femur bone, launch up through the top of your head. Morning, Lizzie. Okay, and then take your shoulders back. Good morning. All right, well done. So if you're on a cushion, pop that to the side. And then if you are a delicate knee person, you can have your little pad on the mat here. Okay, and then take your knees as wide as the mat and bring your big toes to touch. Okay, so this is my femur bone, those of you who've just logged on. Okay, so as I start to lower this end, as I push it down, this again is going to help it slide back into my hip socket, which is where it's going to feel more healthy. And then come onto your fingertips for a moment before you go all the way down, and push your hands down and forward. And that forward action, you feel that, you can try it a couple of times, see how it rocks my booty back, and we'll be rocking this femur bone again deeper into the socket where it feels yummy and comfortable. So keep pushing back. Now lift into your front tummy. So imagine you take a cough and can you feel that lift your pelvic floor on the front of your belly? Nikki, this is what we've just been talking about, weirdly enough. So take that little cough and then keep that lift in your tummy as you push down and reach into a child's pose. So your tummy hasn't turned off, your muscles haven't turned off, and you're deepening the connection of your hip joint. Take a couple of lovely deep breaths in. So this is a more of an active child's pose. You're still pushing the arms down and forward. And if you think your tummy is turned off, again, just cough. Or you could take a leaf out of Jabu's book and you could do a little oof. Child's pose. Well done. Come up and onto all fours. Bring your knees closer. And you can see here, when I'm on all fours, gravity really helps me keep this femur bone in the socket. But again, as we move through our cat-cows, we still want that little bit of engagement in our front tummy. So move through your cat-cows. And as you go into cat, which is like a Halloween cat, at the top of it, again, give a little cough and feel that tummy lift in. Okay, so there's always this like sort of 20-30% engagement of that muscular energy in your tummy. Okay, and then lift your way up to downward facing dog. Stretch your left leg up behind you. And then bring this left leg all the way around, sweep it forward and see if you can bring it to the outside edge of your left hand. Now that might take a couple of wiggles to get it up there, but see how my foot's on the outside edge of the mat. Inhale, look up, exhale, bring your back knee down to either the mat or or your cushion, okay? Actually, I'm just gonna switch legs so you can see better, okay? And then start to come on up. And as you exhale, lunge, but I don't want you to just force this hip forward. This will just take the leg back and force that hip forward. What I want you to do is this femur bone, imagine you're dragging it forward to the front of the mat. So you can see that where I let it go, that's where I drag it forward. This will have the effect of taking that thigh bone back a little bit, like that little seesaw. Then you'll be able to engage your front tummy, cough a little bit more. Then reach up. So all of this muscle is engaged as then you exhale and lunge a bit deeper. If I was in the room, I'd come and poke you and check that thigh bone. So you're stretching into an engaged muscle. Give yourself another cough. And then exhale, release your hands down. Let's switch legs, okay? So obviously I'm now doing an opposite leg to you. And I'll turn around, I think. Okay, so you should have your left knee down on the mat. Come on up and try it lazily to see how, if you get lazy, you can dump this hip forward. So come out of that. Imagine you're dragging this knee forward to the top of the mat and feel how that takes that hip bone back a little bit. That's healthy. And then cough, lift and reach up. And when you've got all that working for you, then lunge into your left leg. So we try and keep that femur bone back, whether on our hands or knees, whether we're in a deep forward fold, wherever we are. Take a full breath. Super. And then peel your hands down. Step your way back to downward facing dog. And then step your feet wide of the mat. Bend your knees really deeply. And you can feel how if you press your hands down and forward with lovely deeply bent knees, again, the thigh bones are going deeply back into the socket. So if you ever do get backache, coming to all fours or coming to downward dog with bent legs can really help it out, really clear it off. Okay, and then walk your way back, walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees so the thigh bones still stay back. And then inhale, come on up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Well done. So now let's try that standing up. All right, so you can move this out the way. Here comes my femur bone. All right, so you can face whichever way you can see the screen. I'm going to do the side. So bend your right leg towards your bottom and reach around for the top of that foot. Now, if you can't get the foot, you could use a strap or you could just reach down and hold the side of your leggings there. All right. And as we come to dancer's pose, squeeze your knees together. And again, look at the top of my wooden femur bone. I'm not shoving it forward. I'm actually taking the knee slightly forward so this hip and groin hollow. So I'm not getting tense there. So try and keep that idea, excuse me, of drawing that thigh bone back. Inhale, reach your left arm up. And as you kick back, kick into your hand, get that muscle engaged as if this knee was on the mat. So really feel the muscles kick in, flare your toes, and then perhaps stay here because this is a really good dancer's pose. You're really working it. But as you kick back, see if you can stay hollow in the top of this groin. As you kick back, kick back. Maybe your torso can come down a bit, but can you keep energized in that back leg? Don't let it just nod off to sleep. Keep the thigh bone back and kick and kick and kick. Hold it wherever you're at for 3, 2, and 1. And then inhale, come back, wobble, fall over, catch yourself, and come back. Same thing in Tadasana. We want to draw the thigh bones back. Sorry, I forgot to mention there to cough, to draw that in and up. Okay, other side. Okay, bend your left leg towards your bum. And notice if you do it lazily without thinking about it, you probably will grab that and then push this hip forward a little bit. So think about that femur bone coming back into the socket, hollow at the groin. And then this is what I forgot the last side. Give yourself a cough to feel the tummy come in. Kick your hand into your foot into your hand. So that leg is fired up. Inhale, reach your right arm up. And this counts as dancer's pose. You don't have to go any deeper. Maybe you can kick the leg a little bit away, but that back leg is active and bright. It's not just hanging out. And then maybe you can start to go deeper, deeper. But can you think about hollowing that thigh bone back? Give yourself a little cough. We're all going to sound like smokers by the time we leave with a smoker's cough. Okay, kick it down. Just be happy with wherever you've got and hold it for 3, for 2, and 1. And then inhale, come on up. Lovely. Exhale, lower it down. Okay, once again, chair pose does this for us. As you take your hips back into the weight back into your heels, the thigh bone goes back. If I lean forward, the opposite is happening. So take your hips back and down into chair pose. Okay, you can have your hands on your knees. Okay, inhale, look up, and again, cough. Can you feel that little lift in your pelvic floor and your tummy? And then reach your arms up and forward. Super, take one more breath. Take another cough. And then keep that lift in your tummy as you sweep and hinge from your hips forward. So Nikki, this is what we were talking about on that chat in 2017. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bow and cough. So this is not an excuse for your tummy to turn off. You still want all that beautiful muscular energy working for you. Super, everybody. And then step back to downward facing dog. Come down to your hands and knees and all the way down to your tummy. Last one, best one. So come onto your forearms. This is called Sphinx pose, okay? And in our Cobra and Sphinxes, we tend to, again, push the hips forward into the mat. So can you imagine that there's a little gecko climbing underneath your hip creases and you're trying to lift away from it slightly. So push your knees into the mat. Again, knees go down so the top of the femur will hollow just a little bit. And then bend your left leg towards your booty. Turn your right arm in at about 45 degrees. Reach around for this top. Some of you will just get the top of the foot and draw it in, but try and push the knee in so this hip hollows. And it might be something I can't see from the outside, but it's an internal movement. Some of you might be able to flip your fingers so they look towards your knees, rotate the shoulder back. And some of you with a bit more rotation in your shoulders may be able to do the full turning the fingers in line with the toes. Do what you can. The most important thing today is we hollow that groin back and we stretch into an engaged muscle. Take one more breath. Half a frog pose. And then release that off. Oh, yum. Okay, you stay where you are. You're just going to do the other leg. I get to twizzle onto your forearms. Turn your left forearm in 45 degrees and bend your right leg towards your bottom. Once again, reach around for the top of the foot, and before you pull, just pull without thinking about it. Press your knee into the mat and imagine you're trying to drag it up, this groin more hollow. And then just do what you can with this. You could lasso it with a strap or pull it in. Some of you can try having your fingers facing your knees and getting the elbow up, shoulder back. Remember, no shoulder dumping. And if you're happy in your shoulder, you might be able to take the full pose with your hand. We do that in level 2 though, so really don't worry if you can't get it. 4, 3, doesn't that feel delicious? Well, it will do when you've finished. 4, 2, and 1, release that off. Bring both hands underneath your shoulders and just do this with your hips. Shimmy your bum, relax it off like someone's giving you a massage in your buttocks. Relax it off, and then come back onto all fours. Work your way back to a seat, again, getting those thigh bones back. And when you're typing and working today, I want you to really think about having these thigh bones back, but not losing the belly in the activity here. Give yourself a little cough or a little jaboo, oof, woof. All right, well done, everybody. I hope your legs feel nicely stretched out on Tuesday morning. Stay online. Oh, yeah, homework. I keep forgetting, I'm sorry. So homework is, I'm sure everybody, I know Lizzie does, has a teenager in their life. Okay, so I want you to find a teenager and give them some praise, because I think, you know, they're going through a lot of stuff, and we're very critical, I think, of the millennials, and let's call them snowflakes and stuff, but they're going some really tough stuff at the moment with parents who don't know how to deal with COVID and da-da-da. So find a teenager in your life. Maybe it's if you don't have one in the house, maybe there's a neighbor or something. Just give them a bit of praise. See how they are. Check in with them as well. It's not all about the oldies, is it? And us.